update our report on Donald Trump's ever-controversial golf resort in Scotland. But first, a most unusual story about three former professional wrestling stars, two of whom, like so many of their colleagues, found their retirement years filled with pain, depression, and addiction, but who found redemption through the efforts of the third member of our trio, who'd figured out life after wrestling in a most surprising way. Our Frank DeFord explains.
It's a lazy Sunday afternoon, and three best friends are settling in to watch some TV.
Oh, get your popcorn ready.
For Dallas Page, Scott Hall, and Jake Roberts, watching old wrestling videos is like flipping through a live photo album and reminiscing about the good old days.
Oh, he took care of it. Yeah, that was good. He took care of it.
That's because they're watching their former selves, back when they were wrestling superstars. And from the looks of it, they were on top of the world.
Uh-oh. Dang.
Oh, again!
But they know the truth is very different. Because among the men on these videos, the stars of wrestling's glory days, about 1 in 4 are now dead. The victims of a culture defined by indulgence, addiction, and pain. For a long time, too, Jake the Snake Roberts was on his way to becoming one of them.
I mean, it got towards the end. I got rid of the mirrors in my house. Because if I seen that, I wanted to punch that son of a bitch. I begged to die.
You wanted to die?
I begged. I would curse God when I would find out that another wrestler died. I'd say, why not me, you son of a bitch? But you see, Damien and I, don't forget, we remember...
At the height of his career, Jake the Snake would terrorize his opponents by bringing live pythons into the ring. But outside of the ring, he says, he was the one haunted by demons. The son of a pro wrestler, he'd been neglected by his father, raised by an alcoholic relative, and sexually molested along the way.
Troubled youth, troubled family.
And how does that apply to wrestling?
Greatest actor of all time, man. You learn to lie.
So you simply adapted.
I'm doing it right now. I will play on your emotions. That's what I do. And I love you, man. I respect you, too. But that has nothing to do with that. It's just that I'm afraid. I'm afraid you're going to hurt me, Frank.
You're afraid I'm going to hurt you?
Yeah.
Why are you afraid I'm going to hurt you, Jake?
It's just the way I am. That's just the way I am.
Yeah.
Throughout his career, Roberts was hooked on crack and booze. Afterwards, the money disappeared, but the addiction stayed. And Roberts, broke and alone, waited to die. And then one day his phone rang.
I picked up, and it was Diamond Dallas Page.
Diamond Dallas Page, DDP to his legion of fans, had himself been one of the most celebrated wrestlers of all time, known for his flowing locks, his beefy build, and that famous move, the Diamond Cutter. His road to the top had been charted by a mentor, a man who taught him everything he knew, Jake the Snake Roberts.
Jake Roberts, the guy that gave me the knowledge when no one else believed in me.
What'd you teach him?
I taught him how to read people, psychology, some of the sick shit.
Do you remember any specific thing that Jake told you? Do this, do that?
Well, the most important thing he told me was take control of your own destiny.
Page says it was that advice that motivated him to become, at the ancient age of 35, the oldest rookie in wrestling history. And it was that advice to which he returned soon after, when a crippling back injury threatened to end it all. There was one possible remedy, but it just happened to be the one thing that no self-respecting wrestler would be caught dead doing: yoga.
I was like, yoga? I'm not doing yoga. But once I started doing it, within the first couple of weeks, I started to feel a significant difference. Now, I kept doing my rehab, and then one night I mixed the two. Then I added in old school calisthenics, push-ups, squats, crunches. So what, in essence, completely by accident, Frank, I created a workout, DDP Yoga.
DDP Yoga. Its very name was a contradiction unto itself.
Here it goes again.
But Page says it cured him. And a year later, he was champion of the world. When it came time to retire, it was his creation, DDP Yoga, that he would turn to again. This time to chart a new life as, of all things, an inspirational yogi.
Exhale.
When you think of yoga, you think of freeing your mind, right? You're getting sort of
It's pretty peaceful. It's pretty peaceful.
Peace is the word.
Not mine. 1-9-1-10. Awesome.
No. His yoga is bumped up a notch with a lot of cardio and some testosterone-filled wrestling moves, like Page's famous diamond cutter sign.
Inhale, take it back. Arms out to a T, clench your fist, make some noise!
About a dozen or so followers come every day to his home outside of Atlanta for classes, which he actually gives for free, while tens of thousands more have spent the $100, yes, the $100 that it costs to get the workout on DVD.
Hey guys, it's me, Diamond Dallas Page. And
You got yoga on the one side.
Yeah.
And professional wrestling on the other. You can't think of two physical exercises that are more different, right?
Right.
Did it take a long time to meld these two things?
I took all the spiritual mumbo jumbo. I took that out and put my own twist on it. Exhale. Hit. Bang. You know, it ain't your mama's yoga.
People know that wrestling has a large artificial element to it.
Right.
Are you just another character now?
I'm always real. And I'm very passionate about it because I help guide people to change lives.
And Page came to believe there was one group of people who needed to change their lives the most: the men that he wrestled alongside years ago. So many of them suffering in both body and mind. So he picked up the phone and called one of them, the man who'd inspired his own career, Jake the Snake.
And I asked him how he was doing. He was like, oh, I'm doing okay. I knew that was a lie.
So Page traveled almost 1,000 miles to Roberts' home, and there he introduced his mentor to DDP Yoga.
I got down there, and I saw him and how brittle he was. He can't even move. Bro, I gotta sit down. That's like less than 5 minutes.
Instead of running like I normally did, or hiding, I normally did, I stood up. And I got down on that floor, and I grunted, and I farted, and I, you know.
But you did it.
I did it. He said, hey, man, you lose 20 pounds, I'll move you to Atlanta.
And that's exactly what happened. Dallas Page is now housing his old counselor and helping him to survive. Roberts is in their living room every morning for some DDP yoga, and he's lost 60 pounds. Page has started filming everything that happens in the house, which he's dubbed the accountability crib, so they can track Roberts' progress. That includes the setbacks. The first in April, when Roberts fell off the wagon and Page had to pick him up.
Where's your bag?
Turn yourself.
Drunk and shoeless at the airport.
You are fucked up as a fucking alcoholic. That's where you're at right now. And the bottom line is, if you want to stay in this crib, and it's called the accountability crib for a fucking reason.
When it happened again a few weeks later, Roberts woke up despondent.
I get so angry at myself just for the simple fact of not being able to do something I say I want to do.
He says he hasn't touched booze or drugs since.
Now when I wake up, man, I'm excited. I'm happy.
What made you change?
I think that I knew it was the absolute last chance to survive.
Here you're in this wonderful...
Cocoon.
Cocoon. That was the word I was going to use. And
Ask me if I'm ever leaving.
that's what I'm
You
asking.
can't get rid of me, brother. You gonna take my ass out, Frank? Shit.
You're staying here.
Yes, sir.
And if it could save Roberts, just maybe it could do the same for the other suffering ex-wrestlers. There was one that Page and Roberts knew was barely holding on. One of wrestling's most legendary villains, Razor Ramon. Real name, Scott Hall. In a world of Herculean bodies and campy charisma, Hall was wrestling's leading man, but 20 years later, he was barely alive.
Dallas Page.
A few months ago, Page and Roberts called their old friend to try and convince him to come and join them, to do yoga and get clean.
I don't remember this phone call, but Dallas has it on film. And I'm just babbling, just drunk out of my mind.
I want to die. I know, man. I was the same spot. I was begging.
Had you already been in and out of rehab a few times?
12.
12 times?
Yeah, wow.
I mean, that's like
Where'd
a
you
record.
get that sensitivity training, bro? Yeah, 12, man. Just pills and booze. It became such a routine. As soon as I hit that curtain and walked down that aisle, that guy's life, Razor, doesn't have any problems. Scott Hall's life's falling apart. He's getting divorced. His kids don't talk to him. But that escape of that fake guy was the only thing really keeping me going at that time.
So Razor continued to live when Scott was dying.
Yeah, yeah.
He was in a bad spot. We were like, buddy, come on up. Got a room waiting for you.
And they met me at the airport. I was in a wheelchair when I got off the plane.
I got you, buddy. Okay.
Like bloated I looked like Elvis right before he sat on the toilet.
And so the odd couple became a trio. And Hall says he's been sober ever since. He's doing the yoga, and he says he's lost 50 pounds.
Get strong.
He feels so good that he spends every day at the gym working on wrestling's next big thing, his son, Cody.
I'm almost getting to live vicariously through him again because I get to see his eyes when he gets a reaction from a crowd. They're chanting, Cody, Cody. It's just great. It's making me feel young and vital again.
Yes, as much as wrestling took out of Scott Hall, he can't stay away. It was his life, after all. And so it is with Jake Roberts, too. Roberts still goes to wrestling shows like this one in Evansville, Indiana. It's a far cry from Madison Square Garden, but it's the only way he can get back in the ring and turn back again into Jake the Snake.
Jake Roberts should have died, I don't know, 10 or 12 times. But today, different cat. Scott Hall was in so much pain, he was trying to drink himself to death. Not anymore.
And when you get going like that, you sound like an evangelist.
I guess I am to a certain. I believe what I'm saying.
Page knows there are no guarantees for his friends. Hall says he's learned too much to say his battle with booze is history. And Roberts is too scared to even think about leaving. But for now, at least, they seem happy, living out their golden years together, one day at a time.
Frank, do you have any idea what real practitioners of yoga think of Page's program?
No, I think, aren't yogi people supposed to be very accepting? Isn't that the idea? I think they would be a little astounded, but they would give in, yes.
Yeah. Is he making a lot of money off these videos?
I think he's making a nice living. He's sold 50,000 of them already, and they're $100 a pop. And he's hoping to turn it into a business of $500 million.
These guys admit to being great liars.
Yes.
Were you able to tell when they were playing you or when they were being genuine?
Brian, you know and I know that everybody that we interview plays us.
Of course. They try to.
And we're
They try
playing,
to.
and we're playing them too. It's a flirtation. But I had the idea that they were absolutely opening their lives to me. I didn't have any sense that, gee, when you admit that you've been in rehab 12 times, come on.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
the secret?
Not a lot to play there.
What are you holding back? No, I found them all very genuine.
By the way, first time we've seen you since you came from the White House to get a National Humanities Medal from President Obama. Congratulations.
Thank you very
Well earned.
much.
Well earned, my friend.